Oh, good times. What
Man,
good times we have.
that
That's great.
is some really good memories. What was your what do you think your favorite costume was for yourself?
Um, maybe I don't know. I like Kenny G pretty good.
Kenny G was strong. I like your
What do
kissing
you
booth.
like?
You had a kissing booth one time, and then you had I
Baby
like
Sheila. Baby Sheila was
I like
funny.
Baby Sheila.
Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot about Baby
You
Sheila.
had
That was a
the
good one.
high school.
Yeah.
Whitney really liked Doug's red wig. Oh, she
Oh,
really.
Sean White, that was great. I always love more cowbell Brandon too. I mean,
Yeah, cowbell
can't
Brandon.
beat that.
Yes, no shame in my game.
It's so good.
Man, we got a good one today. Mr. Stubbs, I see you down there. Open up for a second. Tell everybody hello. We got Darren Stubbs. You got a whole good crew of people.
Good morning,
Darren,
everyone.
so what's the word today, buddy? You just told us you're getting ready to move back to Boise?
Moving back to Boise, probably either late today or first thing in the morning. Packing up and just excited to be on the call with some real winners on our team.
Nice, man. You couldn't stay away from the Smurf turf, could you? You got to get back.
Oh, no, don't call it the Smurf turf. It's called the blue, brother. The
I'm
blue.
sorry.
It's not the 1980s anymore. Yes,
not bad.
season ticket holder, Boise State football. Absolutely.
Nice, man. Are they playing now?
Yeah, we played our first game last Saturday night, and we blew out Utah State and hit the rankings at 25th. But it's kind of an odd season, but just excited that there's actual football happening.
Exactly. What you got on tap for us today, man? Give us a sneak peek.
Oh boy, we're really excited because kind of our theme today is staying focused through adversity by beginning with the end in mind. And we got some real horsepower on the team today that we're gonna be sharing with everybody, and just talking about the mindset of what it takes. And we're gonna share from let's see, 3 or 4 of our 5 agency owners and one of our new top producers. And then I'm gonna come on at the end, and I'm kind of gonna give a shortened version of a talk I recently did on Jacob Pogue's call, talking about having CEO mindset and what it takes to really focus and run your business top to bottom. So we're excited to be here, and thank you for having us on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Can't wait to hear from you. All right, let me share my screen. Going to hit some numbers and quick announcements, and then we'll get right back to Darin and the crew. All right, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty seamless. I don't know if you noticed.
There,
I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to say
getting there.
that it was pretty good. Top 10 new writers for the week, and there were a whole slew of new writers for the week. As a matter of fact, it's been some really good weeks. New writers, Casey, have been up. Unique writers have been up. Production is going up as well. The one thing that's not going up, in all transparency, is premium per application. So 67% of our agents are still 100% virtual. Okay. Which, if you're in a state that is not on lockdown and it's safe to go see people, you're always welcome to do that, following the correct guidelines, being safe and all of that. I can't wait. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be having a couple of calls about just really crystal clear tips on virtual selling and how can we improve the show rate? How can you improve the closing rate? I feel like a lot of agents have gotten this thing figured out to where it's even more profitable for them than what they were seeing 9 months ago, when they were going door to door, when they were actually sitting in people's homes. But I think there are still some people that need like just a few tweaks.
Yep.
I know you're a big believer in kind of scripts and the importance of kind of really understanding the psychology of it. And if you change 5% of what you're doing, it can increase the results that you're getting by 20, 30, 40%, sometimes even more than that. So those are some things that we're going to be working on. And so stay tuned. So new writers for the week. Is that another Watkins brother that's joined the company? David?
Yeah, it's my fifth cousin, David.
It's your fifth cousin. Thrice removed, fifth
No,
cousin?
I don't know that we're related.
All right, well, you might be. Shauna Balone and Travis Matthews. Oh, I like his clothing line.
Wow.
Must have fallen on hard times.
I got a new golf hat from him just the other day because I saw Spivey was wearing one. I was like, man, that's a good looking hat. I think I'm going to get me
Ivy
one.
bought me a Travis Matthews hat when we were
Welcome
in
to the team, Travis. Where have you been, man? Do you think he's good at golf or is he just good at making golf clothes? Hope he's good at golf.
Yeah.
We're good golfers over here. Top producers, overall producers for the week: Sean Hogue, $18,810. Brett Lofty, $22,000, and Nick and Patty always seem to be somewhere in the top of these leaderboards. Yep. $26,265. Well done, Nick and Patty.
Weekly, you got to do over 12 grand to get in the top 10 here, Brandon. When we started the company, you were going to get in the top 5 if you had anywhere close to like $6,000 to $7,000 in a week.
Yep. There's so many people. I think there's so many people that are doing $10,000 to $12,000 a week in production that it's easy. I would never say that it's easily doable, but I would say just like what we were talking about on virtual sales, if you are wanting to kind of get to that mark, you need to make that the expectation for yourself. Yep. And work backwards.
Just the right combination of leads and activity.
That's it. And understanding of the system, saying the things the right way, continuing to get better. But all good stuff. Elliot Freer with 14 applications. This is our top 10 app count takers for the week. Rasim, always up there as well. And Matthew Abear, 17 applications. Not bad. Top 5 critical illness, man. There's a lot of critical illness production that's starting to find its way into the organization as well. Julie, Anna Maria, John Bryant, number 1 with $4,675. Got to have your health insurance license to sell critical illness. Don't forget.
The standalone critical illness, right?
Standalone critical illness. Exactly. That's what this.
How many of your cases when you were in the field had a critical illness rider, would you say?
I would say for me personally, it's pretty high. I mean, I think one year it was over 40%, and most years it was over 30%. Yep. I'm saying for the ones that could qualify, that were in the age range that could qualify.
I was probably in the same territory. It's just especially for the riders, it's just a matter of selling it the right way and selling what it does. Not necessarily what it is, but what it does.
Yep. Yeah, same thing with disability. I didn't do much standalone disability, but I would say, man, 60-70% of all of my clients, I was trying to put a disability premium on there, even if it was like an accident disability. Because when you look at the stats, you understand they're much more likely to have a disabling injury that could put them in a position where they couldn't afford their monthly mortgage payment than they are to die. Obviously, they need both. But if you're not adding on some disability riders, you need to be doing that.
And the reason I asked that, Brandon, is because of what you said a minute ago about small adjustments can make massive results and impacts because you're doing it a lot. You're doing a lot of that activity. And so, if you can take your average premium in an appointment from $80 a month to $110 a month safely, then you've increased your total sales volume monthly and annually by that percentage. You're already in the home, or you're already doing the appointment virtually. So if you can just hone in on selling value in these riders, you can increase your overall annual income by 30-40% sometimes with the same amount of work. It's just saying the words differently, or it's leaning into that a little bit more. That's
a really good point. And it's the same can be said for increasing your close ratio. Like, how many times are you selling an Assurity ActiveFlex as a perfect example on top of your mortgage protection plan, so that you have a disability plan there? You've got, it's a good way to take 2 apps and make it 4 applications, right? And one of the things I think that we're hearing a lot of from the people that are out there killing it virtually is maybe it takes a few more appointments to get the number of production or the number of closes that they're looking at, but they're not relying on just A leads. Now, we have more A leads in inventory than we've had all year. But what I'm hearing from a lot of people is just, I'm supplementing with more bonus leads, more older leads, I'm trying to squeeze in, if I'm wanting to write $10,000 in production, I need 15 appointments, right? If I'm wanting to do a little bit more than that, maybe I'm trying to get 20 appointments. How many appointments can I pick up using 5A, 4A, 3A leads, really older leads? And I think another thing, and we keep hammering on this a lot because we're seeing our digital leads just the closing ratios now are about to surpass the direct mail mortgage protection leads, right? The people that are having the most success with those, we're allocating these daily, getting to a point where it's 3 times daily. The people that are having the most success with these are calling them as soon as they get it.
Yeah.
Assuming they're not in an appointment or already, on the phone, as soon as I have a second, and we're working towards real time on that to where, Casey, you're going to fill out one of our forms online and, you're going to hit send, and within a few minutes, somebody's going to be on the phone with you. That might get a little creepy. It's already kind of creepy when you see your ads pop up on your computer and you're like, did I type this in? Did I just say it? But the people that are calling these things right out of the gate, I'm telling you,
getting the traction.
It's amazing. Call-in leads is another one. And this is always a funny one to us because you get agents that say, I don't like call-in leads as much as I like other stuff. And we're like, really? Have you looked at your data? Have you looked at other people's data? Because I can tell you from the company's perspective, at this point, they're actually the most profitable leads that you can work. Why is that? They're half price. And the closing rate is about 70% of what it is with a direct mail lead. It hovers between 65 and 70. So that means that you're actually going to be more profitable, but people are getting told no more, just a little bit more. And if it gets in your head that something's not quite as good, how do you work it? You work it not quite as goodly.
Well, it can be not quite as good from a lead to an appointment standpoint. But the cost of the lead, people forget to think about that component of it, because the net result in your bank account can be better, but you got more no's. So the statement, the lead isn't as good, might be true, but the money is better when you do the math on it. It's like Pam was having a conversation the other day with an agent. And she said she's had plenty of these conversations where the agent was like, no more calling leads. I don't want to do it anymore, And she said, well, let's work your math because your actual close ratios are pretty good. Work the math backwards. And he was like, oh, okay, well, keep sending them to me, because the math works out. So you can't get emotional about the response. You have to get emotional about the bottom line. The more emotional you get about the yeses and nos, the more this thing's going to get in your head with any lead type.
Yeah. And another thing that we've heard from a few agents is on digital leads. Why am I seeing digital leads on the marketplace for, half the price of what we're doing? Everybody's got to understand that we're not using a vendor to create our digital leads. Our leads are literally 3 to 4 times better than what we've trialed on the open market, that are also kind of web generated or Facebook generated or whatever, that may be having a, 1 out of 10, you're going to have an opportunity to close. Let me tell you, the digital leads that we're creating, there's a little tighter of a funnel, and there's a little more of a verification process. And maybe what a lot of people don't even know is that we have a call center that's actually calling and verifying these digital leads before they're going out. Now we're running trials on several different ways of generating these, but just understand that it ain't apples to apples. These things are the best leads on the market that we've seen, and they're going to be the most scalable. All right. Got stuck on this.
Sidebar.
Yeah. Tracy Lynn. Wait, sorry, Rodney. Missed you there. Tracy Lynn. And Nick and Patty at the top again on the DI board. IULs. Robert at a glance. T. Matthews again's in the game. And David Kushner, no stranger to the leaderboards either. 18 grand in production on one IUL. I like that. Top annuity producers. Look at Sue Hinojos. Kate Weir, Brett Loftus with $236,000. Good job, Kate, Brett, Sue, everybody that made the leaderboards on the annuity boards. Which, by the way, Casey, one step closer achievement this week to us rolling out the new annuity program, Quality Retirement Solutions. Stay tuned. That one's coming out in a matter of days. You ever notice that when you get things with attorneys, they tend to slow down? You ever notice that? Shauna Ballone, Patrick Hurley on the DFL board. George White, man, continue to kill it. George, way to go. $25,000. Look at these recruits. KP, 29. Jacob Pogue, 24. Carl Miller, 16. Tied for 8 over here with Chris Cook, Pug, and Mike and Christine. How do they do in converting those? New riders, Ziller, Sean Kim, both with 3. Daniel Miller with 4. Ryan Miller, 9 new riders last week. Now look at this, Casey. Ryan Miller and Jacob Pogue with 9 and 8 new riders each. What happened last week in the Wayland organization? You think there's a tie-in with any of this?
Absolutely, man.
So
The value of a big pull together, a big conference.
The very first virtual conference held by the Wayland crew last week, and we're able to get in front of, they had 3,000 registrations for that event. 3,000 registrations. Not too bad from you either, Kevin Purdy. I see you at 7. Top 10 key leaders, Michael Sudoff, or top 3 rather, Nick and Patty in second place. Darren Sowers, first place with 29 grand. Top 10 agency owners, Racine Tugberg, Jerry Cantrell. Look at Grant Lieber. Boom. Just shy of $50,000, man. Well done. $48,630. Bay shops, Jim Bob, George and Janet, and Chris Cook. Man, Cook's Bay shops. $62,602.
Yeah.
Agency directors or agency owners who have agency owners. Ben and Amy Miller. It's a good week, guys. Derek Brock, 70, almost 70,000, 68,773. And Larry and Ann Griffin. That's another good week, man. $87,000. That's awesome, buddy. Top 10 rad. Look at Watkins' organization. Look at Miller climbing up there.
Mm-hmm.
Pritchett with 757,000. Wayland with 772,000. Not too bad, guys. Well done, Marshall Wayland's team. And finally, the directs. We've got Kashawn Monteith at 140, Jacob Pogue at 178, KP $257,881 in premium. What do you think that means for a new person kind of looking in, Casey? If Kevin Purdy's direct agency, his agency this week did $257,000. What do you think that translates to from a revenue standpoint in that organization?
I don't know. I mean, even if you just took like a 7-point spread.
Yeah. Let's say issues 75% of it.
Yeah.
After advance, we're looking at somewhere around $14,000
In a week.
In a week. How much of that?
It could easily be a 10 or 15-point spread or more. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty strong.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all, Kevin. You didn't write any of that personal production either, did you? Not that you can't, because you were an amazing producer. Man, here we go. This is starting to get really competitive. I did verify last week that you have to have $25,000 of production to qualify, but you have all the way through the beginning of the year. So we got plenty of time here. Plenty of time, Ruth Slingo. Don't give up. You can still climb it. Dave Lappin. That'd be a great name for a motorcycle rider, wouldn't it? Like a motorcycle rider.
He's going to be lapping.
Lappin Dave.
The track.
Mm-hmm. Alec Myers, 12,400. And look at Theo.
Oh. He's going to get him one. Oh, that's Theodore.
That's Big Daddy.
That's Big Daddy. Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Big Daddy's going to get him a Suron.
Honestly, Edward, you need a couple of these for your spot in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Shoot around the reserve there.
Yes, you do. Go hang out with Chichi Rodriguez. You guys could ride around on your Surons together. Be awesome. Oh, man, it's bonus time.
Our favorite time of the year.
Uh-huh. Look at these top 10 on the Equity 120 bonusers. That's not too shabby, Wayland. I see you up there. Lynn Watkins in third place to Easy Eddie Pritchett. There's some big bonuses, guys. Capital bonuses. Meant to infuse capital into your organizations. Miranda Martin sitting at the top there. So Casey, explain to the new people, why would a Why would Miranda Martin get a capital bonus and not a 120 equity bonus? What are the differences in these bonuses? So Miranda has not gotten her 110 or her 120, her top contract agent.
When you promote someone up to you, which is one of the coolest parts about our system, is we actually encourage you to promote people up to your level. See, in most jobs out there, it seems like the idea is to encourage and motivate your people just enough to do well, but not quite enough to take your position. In our system and strategy, we actually encourage all of our leaders to actually get your people up to your same level from a contract standpoint. Once you do that, then it enforces that 120 equity bonus, where you're actually getting a percentage of that 120 person that you got up to your level. And then you basically start overriding the entire company at that point through equity shares.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Same philosophy as the Sherpa bonus, right? But a Sherpa bonus is more kind of producer oriented versus agency oriented, but good explanation. Here's, last but not least, the producer bonuses. Lead Jed sitting at the top there with $2,100 in free money. That pays for your lead bill every month, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a total.
Look at that.
Let me move my board there. There we go. Now I can see better. Actually, I'm just going to remove it totally.
During a historic pandemic, we paid out $671,000 in bonuses in September.
Yes, we did. Year to date, over $5 million in the equity bonus. Total bonus payout year to date over $6 million. That's you guys need to get in on that action if you're not.
In addition to, Brandon, the commissions paid out.
In addition to. That's right. So here's an important announcement. Everyone stop what you're doing. Pay attention to this important service announcement. In an effort to increase data integrity, sounds important, within our systems, Opt will be asking you to review and or enter your NPN number, as well as general demographic information upon login soon. Don't kind of wait the 30 days, because you will have 30 days to enter it in. But don't wait. Take some time today, not now, maybe do it after the call. Take some time, though, to review your name, address, email, phone numbers, NPN numbers, any other specific data that's in Opt, to make sure that we have all the accurate information for you. Got a couple of upcoming events. Have our normal Thursday call this week with Mr. Todd Spivey, and he's going to have Lappin' Dave Lappin with Jeff Don from John Hancock. Man, we're really excited about the John Hancock relationship. More new writers with John Hancock than we've ever had. They're a top comp carrier. They're a name brand. If you're not doing business with them, get it going. Also Thursday, we have a connect call. Ashley Tarr with Alex Swagoneer and key leader Summer Friesen on taking control of your thought life. I need to do that. I need to be on the call. I will be there.
AWAG. Like it.
And then we have our normal Monday call next week. And then we have a DFL boot camp coming up November the 9th and 10th. And the big daddy for now is our National Philanthropy Day. You can actually register for this now. Whitney, do you want to give me details on that? No, we didn't talk about giving some details, but I'm really excited about this. We've been doing some filming for it. We've been getting it going. Want to make sure that everybody has it in your calendars. So November the 18th, it's that evening. How can they get registered?
Yeah, that's the main thing, is they've got to register for it to be able to participate. So everybody go ahead and do that now. And in a couple weeks, I think it's maybe 3 or 5 days before the actual event, we're going to roll out the silent auction. So you're going to want to be registered so you can start looking at those things. So to get registered, just go to the newsletters that come out, the At a Glance. There's registration links in there. There's registration links on our Facebook page. There's an event card. So lots of places to check that out. And then all the directs have the link themselves that they can send to their teams. And I believe an actual email came out yesterday to everybody with the link. So lots of different ways to to get it. So get registered. It's $5 to register. All those proceeds go directly to Make-A-Wish, and we would love to see you all there.
Yes.
We have some lofty goals.
Yes, we
As far
do.
as what we want to raise, we think we can hit it. We think we might even go over it with y'all's help. So
Yes.
I would be treating this, Brandon, just like a conference event, or this is kind of taking place of our normal leadership retreat / impact day. So this is it for us this year. So I just want to make sure everyone in your organization is on this Zoom party.
Yes. Be talking about it a lot. Got plenty of time to promote it. And it really is going to be a great event. When he's been working really hard behind the scenes. I mean, just the silent auction items alone will tell you need to get in on this. There's raffle tickets. There's all kind of stuff you can win. And I think most importantly is it is for an amazing cause. So get on there and get registered, man. I'd like to see us triple the number of registrations that we have by the end of the day, if not more. Well, this is going to be a good one. Got a podcast coming up. Are you ready for it, Casey? They've been working really hard behind the scenes to get us a studio set up. Did you know that? We're going to have a studio.
I've heard about this.
They won't let us see it. Are you nervous at all?
I don't think so. About the podcast or about the set?
Maybe both. I don't think there's anything.
Well, it's unknown territory, but I will say this. I know you and I, if we create the right environment, which usually revolves around eating, and a few conversational topics, we're good to go usually. So I think we're going to have fun with it.
Yep. And we're also going to be sharing a lot of stories from across all of the field. So if you have some good sales stories, please send us an email with the details, lunch and whatnot at sfglife.com. What is a good example of a good sales story, maybe? Casey, what could have happened?
I like it. Well, I don't want to tell some of your great sales stories because we need to save them for the show.
You have to mention they're probably pretty
How about
embarrassing.
this? Stay tuned to the Lunch and Whatnot podcast, and you're going to hear them.
I remember a guy, and there was an agent that was with us for a couple of years and ended up leaving the business. But a perfect example of a great story is like this guy who shows up to an appointment, and it just kind of, long story short, turns out that the guy was a nudist. And he had to sit across the table, which was a glass table, and try to write these policies. And he did better than I did, man. There's no way I'm stepping through that door. There's no way I'm going to the house. You got to really want the sale and really want to help someone. I'm taking that one virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the kind of examples of great stories. What are some funny things you've heard? Some just really cool things that maybe you've seen, heard, or done, or had done in an appointment.
I had shots with a rodeo clown one time. Shot with a rodeo clown. Shot of whiskey. He was like
dressed up like a clown at the time?
He was legit. No, he was just normal cowboy boots and Wranglers and a belt buckle. But you could tell he was a little Colby Setzer-ish. But he was on the clown side of the rodeo, not the riding side of the rodeo. So
it's a really good thing we should dive into. Is there camaraderie between the clowns and the actual rodeo riders? Is there competition?
Pretty respected usually.
What's that?
I think the clowns are pretty respected.
Oh, I bet, man. They're the ones that have to go out there and get the bulls away from running over Cowboy Colby Setzer.
I think a lot of times they're rodeo guys that just kind of fill in.
Maybe they're moonlighting as a clown, need to make a extra jingle over the weekend. It's probably a pretty cool part-time job. Not getting chased by a bull, that part would not be as, and I don't know if actually being a clown would be that cool either. Everybody
make you dress like a clown. Does the bull know does the bull understand, or does the bull like clowns, want to chase a clown more than the person that was riding the bull?
Well, if he wants to chase the clown more, wouldn't that mean that he dislikes the clown more?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe the clown outfit serves a purpose.
Maybe bulls are actually just like really happy dogs. They're chasing you and want to jump all over you because they're so excited to see you.
Possibly.
Colby, I think Setzer could probably answer a lot of these questions. We might have to get him interviewed for lunch and whatnot. This definitely falls into the whatnot category. 90-day directs blitz. On to the next thing here. Everybody knows what's going on. We're looking at total growth percentage over submit. Got a beautiful lake house retreat for the top 3 winners. Hopefully you guys are making a run at it. I know some of you are doing great. All right, Meredith, Whit, this is your spot, your time to shine.
So fun coming after you two. So the tool of the week, this week we're highlighting a book we've all been engaged with. Didn't know, is there a slide to show the book of the week? I didn't know. There it is. So, Ayers and Cicely, we can thank for really pushing and recommending us to read this. And it was funny when we started reading it, we realized we had already been doing a lot of the things they had suggested, but to really to dive deeper into this system. And I was talking to Amy Fine a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, if one thing I would recommend is if we could start these when your agency is, has 1 or 2 employees, and start using a system, it will definitely be able to scale so much better than trying to put in a system when you're, 10, 15, 100 employees in. So we've been doing this now. We're pushing 6 months, really trying to follow this system. Brandon, Casey, love to have y'all's thoughts on this too, just kind of what you've seen as a benefit. I think in the world of entrepreneurial, I can't say that word, social amount of braces is good, but they talk about this as an EOS system, for kind of entrepreneurs to follow. And I think a lot of times it's hard with these kind of personalities to follow a system. It's kind of can be uncomfortable at times. But I think the uncomfort is where we grow. And I think we have really found a huge benefit here at Symmetry, kind of putting this in and helping way more with communication. So what do you think, Whit?
Yeah, I think it just falls in line with that that common language that we talk about within Thrive. And, it's part of our mission statement. And like Mayor said, we had kind of picked up on some of this working with Giant early on, 3 or 4 years ago. And we have a couple teams that were still having what they call level 10, L10 meetings. And we just decided to really bring it in. And that's been a big rock for both Meredith and I over the last 6 months to really take this across the whole company, and especially as Quility is forming and everything we're doing with Assura. It's just, we needed something we all could follow together. And so we have these L10, level 10 meetings that are pretty structured, and all the departments are having them. And right now it feels like we're starting to gain traction because we're all on the same page, speaking the same language, and moving priorities forward. So it's been pretty cool. We're excited to see where it's going to take us.
Doug, I know you hopped on. Is there anything you were wanting to add here?
Yeah. I think it's, the opportunity that exists for every business owner out there is we spend most of our time working in the business, doing the day-to-day things that we need to make sales or generate revenue. And oftentimes as a result, we put up with a lot of ineffective or inefficient systems. And the traction approach is really about taking a step back so that you're coordinating on a quarterly basis. Here are the things I'm going to do to improve the business and the way that it functions. So it's much more about working on the business and making a plan to do that than just spending all your time working in the business.
Yeah. And I know us going in to work with Brian Williamson over the next 90 days, I know he's going to be using language such as scorecards and things of that nature. And I think if you have the background of this book, just like we're saying, that common language, you'll know exactly what it's talking about, and you'll just hold yourself accountable even to a greater degree during this 90-day push. So that is our tool of the week.
It's a great tool. You can also download the book to Audible, give it a listen. It's a quick listen, very engaging. Loved it. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Got more resources, Thrive 101 on Quility U. Go check it out. Well, that's it, Casey. That's all I've got. Now we get to the fun stuff. Mr. Stubbs.
You guys are in for a real treat with this team on today.
Absolutely.
Got something for you, Brandon.
I like that, buddy. I figured it would be blue. Why is it not blue?
Well, blue and orange, man. And I'm half packed. This was the closest hat that was not in a box, so I just figured, Boise State, blue and orange.
Well, just so you know, Meredith and I have been building a house for a little while, and we have a field across from our future house that they've had to clear a lot of trees out, and now they're getting ready to plant some grass. And they were going to hydro seed it, and they were going to blow seed all in the kind of the forest, a special kind of grass. And he said, yeah, it's going to be hunter green. It's not going to look that much different from the regular grass. It was not hunter green, Darin.
It was blue.
It was Boise blue.
There we go, man. Gotta love that blue. Bleed blue.
Some questions for some neighbors, like, what the heck did you do to the forest? I said, well, my wife is a big Boise State fan, and we just felt like it's fall, and we were celebrating their first game. So
there we go. There we go. I'm not sure how that rolls with that Roll Tide hat you and Spivey are always wearing, but
okay.
Someday
we can definitely love Boise State.
Right on.
Yeah. So
there's Spivey. He's got his Alabama hat on. See, I knew it, man. I knew he'd have a Bama hat on.
I'm very neutral today. I went Costa. I know that everyone's football season started. Ohio State was looking good. Clemson's looking good. Boise is looking good. Everybody's looking good so far. So,
yeah.
Darin, you've been with the company now for how many years, buddy? 4 years?
4 years and 2 months.
4 years and 2 months. You got your start in, I guess you would say you kind of got your start in sales, if my memory is correct, as a stockbroker, correct?
Yeah. I went to school, majored in finance and economics, and kind of started my career here in Sacramento in 1987 as a stockbroker and insurance license. Yep.
Okay. Walk me through a little bit of your history, man. Let everybody know kind of what your at least professional career has kind of looked like and what led you to us.
Well, I didn't enjoy that was back in the 1980s when the first Wall Street movie came out with, Gordon Gekko. And everybody was hyped on getting a business degree. And so I did finance and economics for undergraduate work. And truth is, I didn't really enjoy being desk to desk at 6 o'clock in the morning, just cold calling out of the yellow pages. And after about 6 months, I actually went to work for Waddell & Reed, which is a national firm. So finally on my resume, I had all of my licenses, 663, 7, and 23 securities licenses, and then a bunch of insurance licenses. And I floated my resume and went to work for Monarch Capital Corporation, and then put my securities license at Merrill Lynch, and it went more into insurance. Didn't really enjoy that either, and then started in mortgage banking in 1992, relocated from Sacramento to Salt Lake, worked for a firm that was literally in the basement, 5 employees. We built it out of the basement. And I started commuting to Boise immediately, and I just fell in love with the lifestyle there. Came home one day, told my wife and at that time one daughter, Audrey, who's going to be on the call with us today, and moved to Boise. Started my own mortgage banking company, grew that like crazy. Eventually had 6 offices in different states, and we did really, really well, like a lot of people in the late 90s and 2000s. And Casey, Brandon, then came 2008 and 2010. And the collapse of the secondary money market. So I went from having made millions of dollars and doing very well and helped a lot of people to finding myself in my mid to late 40s, foreclosed, bankrupt, jobless, licenseless, thinking, okay, now what I'm going to do. So I started to do, a little bit of consulting work and writing some business plans. And I sold some intellectual property on a tech company, which was a miracle because I'm not a tech guy. And then in December of 2015, I sat there in my house thinking, if I don't do something different, I'm going to be the nicest guy selling fishing licenses at Walmart in 15 years. 3 weeks later, this guy, maybe you've heard of him, Tony Capistrano, called me on a Monday night in the middle of January. And that's
first time that you'd ever talked to Tony?
No. When the mortgage industry was collapsing and dying, I was out on the speaking circuit representing a product of Salt Lake, kind of like our debt-free life program. It was a SaaS offering, but it used HELOCs to arbitrage money in and out of HELOCs to get you out of debt. Obviously, what we do is far superior. So I was speaking in about 11, 12 different Western states, and I met Tony in Portland, Oregon, 7 years before. Wow. And I had not seen him face to face for 7 years. Now, Tony, you know his story, tremendously successful networker, and he kept trying to recruit me for a lot of that stuff. And I know for some people, lotions, potions, and pills is great, but not for me. It wasn't my thing. Yeah. So he calls me up. It's like January the 18th, Monday night, and he goes, "Yo, bro, what do you know about mortgage protection insurance?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what that is, man." And then inevitably, he gave me, "Well, there's these guys in North Carolina." And I went, "Whoa, time out." Because you know when you get that phone call from a friend that says, "There's these guys," you know where this call is going. And I'm like, "Stop right there, Tony. I'm not doing any networking things." He goes, No, it's not. Well, what I didn't know, Brandon, is it wasn't Symmetry. It was a practice company. Mm-hmm. So I got one 30-minute recording. The next day I did a 3-way call, and 40 hours later, I took the last $1,000 I had, jumped on a plane and flew to Raleigh. Mm-hmm. That's where I met Kyle. That's where I met Tony face-to-face again. And then Darren Davis came on that trip with us. And that's what introduced us to the mortgage protection space.
Nice. You know, I think there's so many people that can relate to every struggle that you've had to go through. You know, there's so many people out there too, Darin, that need us. We think about people that are looking for jobs. We think about, you know, people that would be successful with us. Man, there's so many people out there that just got put through the ringer, just like you did. And it's mainly, it didn't have anything to do with who they were or character or anything like that. It's all situations or circumstances outside of their control. And I think the one thing that we've always said that we love the most about the insurance business is, you know, it's recession proof. As it turns out, it's pandemic proof.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which has been great. And it's extremely predictable, right? Like you find the right people that are willing to work, they're willing to invest in themselves, both financially and from a time standpoint. They're going to continue to get better, but they're also willing to invest in leads, right? They're willing to kind of develop a little bit of a business owner's mindset. And you find the right people, it becomes extremely predictable. And as an agent, you've been able to feel that. And I can't imagine kind of the relief that going through this has to kind of feel for you, knowing that everything that you went through 10 years ago was completely outside of your control. And you could probably just feel it coming and see it coming, kind of like we always say death by Zamboni for certain things, but that's probably, you feel like you're in the middle of this storm during this mortgage crisis, and you're an extremely successful guy, Darren. You've got 6 businesses. You've got, you know, you're making a great living. And you just see it kind of falling right in front of your eyes, and there's nothing that you can do about that. And I can't imagine what that feels like as a business owner, as a parent. And so I think that would wreck a lot of people. And I know that it wrecked you for a little while, but you're also the type of person that, you know, it ain't about how hard you get hit, it's how hard you can take a hit, man. And
that's right. And get back up. That Rocky quote.
And you figure it out, you know. If I got to go sell fishing licenses, then by God, we're going to go sell fishing licenses. Thank goodness Tony Capistrano calls you and says, "Hey, man, there's something a little better, a little more profitable than fishing licenses.
Yeah.
Let's go check it out." You know.
Right.
So we always say about this business that it has such a redemptive quality, and I think you're such a great example of that because you were willing to kind of put in the work, put in the effort, and in doing so, you've been able to completely redefine, you know, who you are, how your life is going to go. You've been able to work with your family. You know, you've been able, I'm looking at a picture of Audrey here. That's got to be extremely rewarding that, you know, you not only have built this thing and found out a way to make a great living again, but you're also having an impact on your personal family. So
yeah, it's been a tremendous journey. I can't express enough how grateful I am. And most importantly, you know, a secret lying there was Kyle Kimbrell. Because we were at the practice company, and you guys know who that is. It's not what we're talking about. But Kyle figured out that this guy's ego was dangerous. I mean, super talented guy, gifted, but dangerous ego. There was no check and balance to his ego. Whereas here at Symmetry, we have 3 founders. We have an advisory board. There's checks and balances. And Kyle called us up, and he didn't show up to a meeting. Tony, myself, Eric, Andrick, Darin, we had 20-something people at a meeting at the practice company, and Kyle and Lisa were a no-show because they were out meeting you guys, and Ashley and Danny and Ryan Miller and Sarah Pappas out in Phoenix. He called us on Sunday and said, fellas, I found us a home. Yeah. It's called Symmetry Financial. It has the core values, the things that we align with, and we don't have to deal with one crazy person's ego, talented as he is, something that's more balanced the way we're all aligning. And he terminated like that. And it's kind of a good story because Ashley was like, I think she was in either Ireland or Scotland. And like a course of 6-8 weeks, 20-something of us moved into Symmetry. And so Kyle went first, which was great, in like May of 2016. And then Tony came over in June, and I had a big pile of commissions coming. So I kind of signed my contract late July and then started August 1st of 2016. And it's just like, so glad we listened to Kyle. And after, he got to speak to you guys, and here we are.
We're extremely glad that that phone call came in, that we've had an opportunity to get to know all of you and be in business with you, man. And just really excited about the future of the Stubbs agency, Capistrano team, Kyle and Lisa's organization. It's all got really big things to come. So Darin, you just to give you everybody a little context on who you're listening to today. Darin, you're probably a $300,000 to $350,000 a month agency right now. Is that fair to?
Yeah, we're chipping away at that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've got agency director Eric Andrick on with us that is around an $85,000 to $90,000 agency.
$125,000 this month.
Nice, buddy. That's what I like to hear, man. Is that a record or is that?
No, but just how you go through some of those accordion rebuilding. Some people leave the team. You got to reload the team and find the people that align with our culture and stay. And it's just tremendous.
Absolutely. Got agency owner Steven Jackson with us as well. September was just shy of $75,000. So you got some big production on here. We got your daughter Audrey, another agency owner, who is chipping away, getting at $50,000. We got a top producer, Chris Leak. Now that's not the old Chris Leak from Florida that was a great quarterback, is it?
No.
The $30,000+ producer. So you got a lot of really good folks on this call. They're going to show you how to do this stuff. So Darin, we appreciate you being on, man. I will shut up now. I'll let you kind of run the show, and appreciate you, man. Grateful to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And to kind of officially introduce, I'm Darren Stubbs, currently Managing Vice President. I'm direct to Tony Capistrano. Thank God Tony called me. Thank you, Tony. Direct to Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, Ashley Tarr, and part of the Danny Young hierarchy. We're really excited to have a great team on. But before I introduce my team, I want you to know, Brandon, we got some other heavy hitters, and I just want to give them a shout out because I know there's not enough time to have everyone on the team, but they deserve to get a call out. And I just want to talk about Greg Bevan for a minute. Gosh, Greg is a tremendous trainer. Greg Bevan is the top producer on our agency, Brandon. He's personally written $1.2 million in production. And he's just amazing. And he's got a key leader, Lori Aspenson, and a team leader, Kimberly and Rob Skinner coming on. You'll be seeing those names. And then another agency owner here in Sacramento, my son, Devin Stubbs, agency owner, and a team leader up in Tacoma, Washington, and that would be Leanna Mason. And then as we get started today, we're gonna start with Audrey briefly, and then I'll come back and introduce Eric Andrick, who's been a friend for 25 years, and he's amazing. Eric literally is fighting the COVID. He tested positive, so Eric's gonna be just kind of a little reserved today, but he's on. So I just want to shout out about Audrey. Audrey's an agency owner. She's also a national top producer. Oh, by the way, backing up real quick, Greg Bevan, agency owner and national top producer. Devin Stubbs, national top producer. Leanna Mason, national top producer, national elite producer. And then here's my beautiful daughter, Audrey, agency owner and national top producer. She's going to be talking about some real important stuff here because the theme of our talk today is to staying focused when adversity comes, because it will come, and to begin with the end in mind. So Audrey, why don't we send it over to you, and welcome to the call, Audrey.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Darin, for the introduction. Thank you to Brandon, Casey, Brian for creating this amazing opportunity that all of us are so lucky to have in our lives. Thank you to Jacob Pogue for having Darin on the call and help facilitating us onto the call today. We really appreciate you, Jacob. So just a little bit about me. Prior to coming to Symmetry, I was in the Navy, active duty for 6 years. I was a naval air crewman. And my job was I hunted and tracked submarines out in the South China Sea. Definitely not something that I could have done here in the civilian sector at all. So when my dad, Darin, brought me to my first conference in August of 2017 in Raleigh, North Carolina, I was about in the last 6 months of my contract. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with my life at that point. Didn't have any direction. I knew I didn't want to continue to work with the government. I could have gone to Boeing and worked with them, but that just wasn't really what I wanted to do for my family. So went to Raleigh, met Brandon, Casey, Brian, and Brandon, since you're on, I got to tell you, I didn't even know that you guys were the owners when I first met you. You guys are all just so down to earth, so low key, just humble. When I first met you all, I just was like, wow, these guys are really cool. It wasn't until honestly, the next day when the conference started, y'all got on stage and were like, hey, we're the owners of the company. I was like, wow, how cool.
We appreciate
it. Brandon's security detail.
That security detail is that's just Brian Pope. He's not great at it.
Right.
Audrey, thank you first of all for your service. I didn't know that about you, and I didn't know exactly what your job entailed. And so say that again. You were helping to track nuclear submarines.
Yes. So my job was an acoustic operator. I was the one that would search, locate, and track enemy submarines, both diesel and nuclear, out in the South China Sea, out near Russia. On our own coastline, just kind of doing protective forces, exercises with our own submarines for their training. So like I said, it was a unique kind of niche that I didn't really anticipate going into when I joined the Navy, but it was very rewarding. I met my husband in the Navy, so it was a great experience for sure.
Think of the movie Hunt for Red October.
That's exactly what I was thinking, right?
That's awesome.
Was it as stressful as the movie?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely very stressful at times. Yes, Casey, I was the one that listened. So I did a lot of listening for transient noises in the ocean, heard lots of whales, heard music playing through the submarine walls. I mean, you
that's really cool.
What a really, really cool experience. Yeah. And I got to say, Dad, for you, it's got to be even that much more rewarding to have her back on land, close to you, or at least as close as possible. And you also have to be extremely proud of what she was able to accomplish before Symmetry,
A lot of respect for the military, but I got to tell you, it changes when it's one of your children that puts the uniform on and then deploys in a forward area. It's like, whoa, this just got real, because now it's my child wearing the uniform. And so kudos to everyone in the Symmetry family that has served, and thank you for your service to everyone who has served. So.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Audrey. Really impressive.
No
I had to jump in. When I heard that, I had to jump in there real quick.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks, Casey. No problem. So what I want to just touch on today, guys, is, again, when I went to the first conference in August of 2017, where I met, all the amazing, incredible leaders that we have in our leadership hierarchy. I mean, Ashley Tarr. I got to meet, Jacob Pogue. And I mean, there's so many amazing people that I met. Kevin Purdy. Brian Delaney. I can't even tell you all the great, wonderful leaders that we have. But I did go to a breakout class of Brian Delaney's. And the first thing that, after we'd gotten talking and I introduced myself, just told him I was going to be starting part-time because I was still active duty in the Navy for about 6 more months. He said something to me that has stuck with me up until this day. And this is what I tell all of my new agents that are coming on, maybe just part-time, that are, working to sustain their lifestyle. But one of the things he said to me, he said, Audrey, you can be part-time, you just cannot be half committed. And I think that was so powerful for me, because I knew that once I found this company, this was going to be my home. I knew that this was going to be where I was going to be able to dream, look at this company and have some vision for the future. And as we're talking about, beginning with the end in mind, I think that's one of the most important thing is to, as John Ziller says, have a why that makes you cry, and really just commit to making this your future. And one of these things that I love is that we have had so many great announcements over this past summer and this past year about where we're going in the future. So thank you again to the founders and Brian Pope for giving us that opportunity. So as you're beginning, as you're starting here with us, make that commitment. That's number one. Number two, I think, is something that's really important. That's part of our 4 cornerstones, and one of those cornerstones is association. And Eric Ondrick is great, and he loves to talk about this piece about associating with the right people. But, change is hard. Starting a new career that you have no experience in is hard. I mean, it was for me. I had no financial or sales experience whatsoever. But one of the things that I loved, and this is a book that I'm going to recommend to you all, it's called Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy. And in this book, he talks a lot about how your environment is stronger than your willpower. And one of the people that he quotes is Dan Sullivan, who is the founder of Strategic Coach, entrepreneur. He says, surround yourself with people who remind you more of your future than of your past. And that's what I loved so much about seeing this culture at Symmetry, is that these people give me hope. They gave me, a future to look forward to, because the people of my past definitely weren't going to help me get to where I wanted to be in my future. So I just really love that quote. So start with your own personal environment. You may have to make some big drastic changes in who you associate with. You may have to have a really hard conversation with your family members and let them know, hey, this is where I'm going. This is, where I hope to take you with me, to really make sure that your environment is conducive to being your own boss, which is something that Darin's going to talk about here shortly. Because you are the CEO of your own company. Even from day one, we're 1099 employees. We have the freedom to move within this structure that Symmetry has given us. And really, they've given us the power of choice. We get to choose whether or not we want to just be personal producers, or if we want to be builders. Myself, personally, I chose to be a builder because of the amazing agency ownership opportunity that Brandon, Casey, and Brian have given us. And so, something that I love is that we are responsible for shaping and choosing the environments that will ultimately shape the person that you become and the destiny that you have. And so you got to start with your own personal environment. And for me, that was moving out of my house, getting an office space, which luckily I have with my business partner and my mom, actually, Leanna Mason, who is an amazing key leader, elite producer. So I do have a physical office. It's not required. It's something that, you may have to work out eventually if that comes to you. But just have a quiet space that you can go, you can focus on whatever it is that your Google Calendar is telling you to do, and really be intentional about your schedule. That's another big thing for me, and that Darin will talk about here as well, is really being intentional with your time. I know that for me and for Darin and a lot of other people, leaders out there, Google Calendar is kind of my boss. I schedule everything as far as, family time, dials, checking pending business, recruiting, administration, all those things are scheduled into my calendar, because that is a really kind of a forcing function for me, is those alerts that I get when it's time to stop dialing. I stop dialing and I go home and spend time with my family and my children. When it's time to make recruiting calls, for 3 hours in the morning on Mondays and Tuesdays, that's all I'm focused on. So being really intentional with your calendar. The next thing is really being intentional with your, again, physical workspace. Have a system. Whatever time you are going to commit to Symmetry, whether that's part-time or full-time, make sure that you are having those forcing functions in place. Me personally, I print my leads. I have everything in binders, having an organized desk, having an organized computer, because chaos is not a good way for you to be productive if you have chaos in your life. So really just focusing on, decluttering your desk, decluttering your life, whether that's the people that you associate with, and your own personal workspace. And that, I think, is one of the big keys that will really set you up for success, and really focusing on your mindset, which Darin is definitely going to talk a lot more about. So those are just some key things for me. Darin, I'll hand that call back to you.
Great. Thank you, Audrey. Really, really appreciate your drive and ambition. And for those of you who don't know, Audrey has 2 children, which makes me a grampy twice, Aria, about to turn 5 in January, and my BAB, my big Alden boy, who will be turning 1 in just about 10 days.
2 weeks,
So, yeah, so very, very excited about that. And my son-in-law, Sam, is a tremendous support. He helps and supports the Audrey and the business, and does a great job. So Audrey, thank you very much. Great job as always. Okay, next we are going to go up to Boise, Idaho, which is where I'm going to be tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. I just want to introduce my good friend, Eric Ondrich. Eric and I have been friends for about 25 years and counting. In my mortgage banking industry, Eric was a mortgage wholesaler for Long Beach Bank. So he would come into my company and we'd sell $1.5 million, $800,000 in loans a month to Eric every month. So we go way back. Eric is tremendously experienced, gifted, talented, runs 3 businesses, has a beautiful wife, 4 children, a grandbaby. So Eric, let me hand it over to you, brother. Let me just hand it over to you, Eric. Go for it, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Darin. It's 2 businesses. I'm very, very part-time on my commercial finance company that I've had forever. So thanks, though. But thanks for the intro. And hey, Darin mentioned, I tested positive for COVID. It's the craziest thing. I was trying to reflect on, and that was on Saturday, what I did, if anything, different the last several months. And I didn't. The only thing I can hammer it on is I had a hernia surgery a few weeks ago, and you got to get tested before you do that. I think my body was just really pushing my immune system to kind of resolve that issue. And my golf game didn't like that. But the positive is, if anything, my wife and I had started a cleanse about a week before. And so if there's any good that came out of it, it's been a good catalyst for me to lose some more weight. So
Eric, go ahead. I got to hear more about this. How are you feeling? Do you know when, how long have you had it? First off, do you know exactly?
Well, I just felt bad for about 8 days. And I've had growing up, we had mumps and chicken pox, and I've been a really healthy guy my entire life, which I've been blessed with. But I'll tell you, it was not something I want anybody to have to go through. I mean, I had 120-minute sessions where I would, it was an internal chill that I had convulsed for an hour and a half, and I had to change 3 or 4 times the other night because I'd wake up sweating and drenched, and then I get cold again. And that's probably been the worst of it, to be honest with you.
I bet.
Could have been worse. Could have ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you being on here with us, man, because that's no joke. I've talked to several people that have had it, and the only good thing is kind of what you said. Maybe it's a catalyst for your eating program that you were trying to join, because if you've lost, like a lot of my friends that have had it, so they lost their sense of taste and smell. So maybe I
don't feel like eating. Fortunately, my wife is awesome. She's been helping me out a lot, so forcing me to eat. But it's good, man. It could be worse, like I say, but I'm glad I kind of got it out of the way. Hopefully, we'll see if it's. I don't know. Nobody knows anything about it, so.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Thanks for being with us, buddy, for sure.
You good. So I want to start out, first of all, thanking again, the founders, the advisory board, my hierarchy, the Danny Young and Ashley Tarr, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, Tony Capistrano, and Darren Stubbs, for sure. Darren asked me to spend a little bit of time on just a few minutes on staying committed to the process, even when adversity comes, okay? This is the second time I became an agency director. Happens to some. There won't be a third, I can guarantee you that. And yeah, there's been some time the last year and a half where I was struggling to maintain my AO qualification. And I'm not embarrassed about that. It's just 100% on me. Number one thing I did learn is not to compare yourself to others and run your own race here. Right now, the cupboard's a little bare in the base shop, and that's just part of the struggle we all face, and that's just part of the game, and I'm okay with that. But I want to go over a few highlights on overcoming adversity, things that have worked for me that I've gained from Symmetry. Danny says this all the time. He says, look, the only way you can fail here is to quit. And, I'm fortunate. My mother raised us from day one. She said to my brothers and I at a very early age, winners never quit and quitters never win. And she never let us quit. at anything ever, no matter how difficult it was on her. And I know how difficult it was on her at times, because it's hard watching your child. We've got 4 kids and a granddaughter myself, go through tough times. And the best thing we can do is let them work through it. Same thing with our agents. You know, I struggled. There's nobody out there bailing me out, and that's fine. I don't want that. This is a great game if you want to play ball in an environment where you can look back someday and say 100% of what I got done was on me. And I like that. So the one thing that quitting can do, though, to all of us, if you allow yourself to quit either by somebody else or yourself, it just makes it easier to quit when times get tough. And so I don't know anything about quitting. I know that the exact opposite of that is true as well. If you have the fortitude to not quit, which can be learned, by the way, you know, Danny says it all the time. We have to be uncomfortable to grow. And that's usually where people quit. He said, I think on Sunday night's master agency call, that, you know, you can get comfortable in a cocoon like most people do in society. And our job here is to be uncomfortable if we want to grow. And so that's number one. Also, to add to that, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I know we're in the thick of it with the Q4 blitz, but overall, this is a long man's game, or woman. I'm sorry, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but long agent's game. And so just by showing up and controlling our activity, we're going to succeed here long term. And I do know this, and I've seen this in my team. The grass is not greener anywhere else, anywhere we go. You know, it's, if you buy into what I'm going to talk about here in the next couple of minutes, you just got to stick it out here. Tony Capistrano drove Lyft when he started. Okay, the guy's written over $2 million in personal production. He drove Lyft. He did what it took. So if you can get that mindset, you cannot fail here. Number two, there is no perfect business. You know, no business runs 100% of the time with no challenges. In fact, most have challenges 100% of the time. Our system at Symmetry is as close as it gets, but we are challenged often. And that's because, like Danny says, we're in the people business, man. And in order to thrive here, we've got to be able to deal with people and communicate with other human beings. And that is the most difficult thing there is. That's why you get guys with the big groups at the top. They make the big bucks because they deal with more people. And so, you know, Danny talks about it all the time. This is an area where I had to put some work in. You know, with I have a business-to-business background. I've mainly dealt with business owners my entire life, not clients, and it's a different pitch. It was a lot more hardcore, like Darin talked about in the 80s and 90s. If you saw the way two 30-year-old type A alphas spoke to each other 25 years ago when Darin and I were doing business together, I mean, I don't recognize those two guys anymore. And especially these last 4 years. And Darin can share his growth or forced growth if he chooses to, but it's critical that we continue to grow here, like Danny says, and be uncomfortable. Number three, Edward Pritchett was on the Kimbrell Master Agency call a couple of years ago. And I said, Edward, I asked him a question, you know, I know it's a $100 million question, but how do you determine who you want to recruit? And I remember it like it was yesterday. And he said, Eric, I recruit those who I want to go to dinner with, those I want to hang out with. And I can tell you that I put that into motion here last year before I met Steve, and anybody where I've got to cringe when I see him calling me, I don't want them on my team. That's just me. Life's too short. If somebody's full of drama, it's not going to happen here. But I've really been blessed this last year or so, especially with Steven and his team and some of the other recruits that I have on our team, from the standpoint of having a lot of people I like to talk to. And that's been a big difference maker. Number four, I personally, I've made our core values and our culture a major part of my interview process. So the last item I go over before I back in how we get paid is I say, look, I'm going to go over our core values. I want to talk about our culture for a minute. It's a major part of what we do. And to be quite frank, it's imperative you understand these core values going in, because if you don't align with them, it's okay. We won't waste any more time. if you do align with them, we'd love to have you. But I've had people come in, fake it. They're either going to get terminated, wash out, or quit if you don't align with these. So I make a big deal out of our core values because it is a big deal. There's nobody else in the industry that has them. And I'm real proud to be at Symmetry as a result. Number 5, Audrey mentioned it, our 4 cornerstones of success. And if you want to find those, you go to Simply SFG, the training tab, the sales tool column, 4 cornerstones. Number 4 is associate with the right people. And we haven't had really too many events this year to attend, but I let people know up front now, especially that, hey, you're going to be expected to be on a few hours of calls every week. If you're not on the calls, you're likely not going to be here in a month or two, quite frankly. And this is a fact. I mean, any of us can feel like we're on an island very quickly here after a bad day or a bad week. Very quickly. It doesn't matter how strong a personality you have. Okay. If Darin wasn't plugged in, he has a couple of bad weeks in a row with agents and other things, and it's going to be challenging, but he's plugged into everything, just like I am. And everybody on this call is, obviously. So, but if you're on the calls and you're on the Zooms and you're doing the trainings, you'll never feel alone because you're going to hear the same story from somebody else. We've all been there. We've all had to go through the grinder. Some of us are still going through it. There's also an osmosis effect that occurs by being engaged on all the calls. And, Symmetry gets into you at some point. I mean, I could talk about the business and get people fired up that maybe aren't going to be good candidates. And I have to watch myself doing that because I get excited about it. Really regurgitating everything I've learned from Danny and the advisory board and all these calls and the sales call on Monday and our Kimbrell Master Agency call and the Pac West call that we're on every Tuesday. So you will learn things by being on these calls. Okay. And finally, I always say being at SFG is a privilege. It's not a right or a mandate by anyone. And Darren's going to speak about it today, the CEO mindset. But part of running a business is the daily challenges that every business faces. And, Danny says it all the time. You hear him on the national call say it. He says, look, we're looking for adults, not children. And I bring that into the equation here because running our own business, I've had several over the years. There's just going to be challenges that every one of us has. And there's no business that doesn't have a plethora of challenges daily. But I guess I consider myself pretty evenly killed when it comes to everyday life. I never really get too high or too low. It's just been a learned behavior over many decades. And it is something that anybody can learn if they choose to grow. Danny just reiterates that in my head. And, a year ago or so, I rededicated myself to my miracle morning and made some personal observations and some changes in my life that were pretty significant. And hey, by the way, I know Miranda Martin, I want to put a shout out for. I try to get all my new agents to buy and read this, the Ultimate Sales Training Success Guide. Miranda is a great leader at SFG. This is for SFG agents and people who want to grow. But shout out to her on that. But I would end with going back to number 1 or 2, when Danny talked about it on Sunday again. He said, look, all of our growth happens when we're uncomfortable. So embrace the uncomfortableness. That's what this deal is. Before I introduce Stephen, I do want to make one note about Chris Lee. Chris is, he came on less than 7 months ago, and they'll talk about his story in a second. I want to bring this up because I have a lot of people on my team. I'm sure you do too, if you're on this call. Chris signed up in California, which requires 40 hours of continuing ed to get your license. Okay, 40 hours. He signed up online for school on a Sunday afternoon. He took the test the next Friday in Fresno and passed it, both life and health. Okay, I don't know anybody who's done that in California. 5.5 days, 5 days, call it. So I'm real proud of Chris. But Stephen Jackson, I want to introduce him, and I think Darren's going to give you a little bit about his background.
No, I'll let you do it, brother.
Well, Stephen, I don't have all the stuff that you have right now, and I'm a little hazy, but I will say this.
Okay.
I'm incredibly proud about this man. He is a top producer. He's our owner in the Kimbrell Master Agency hierarchy, and this guy gets it. I'm blessed. Again, he's one of probably the first group a month I was really digging into the core values when I spoke with him. He aligns with our culture, which is 90% of the challenge for us. He loves Symmetry, and he's got a great background, but more importantly, he's just becoming a really terrific friend. And Stephen, I want to welcome you to the call. Darren, you can take over the call from here, buddy. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, Stephen, I'm just going to briefly say to everyone in the call, Stephen is a man of tremendous talents and gifts and heart of gold. Father, we recently went through a tough divorce this last year. He came out like a rocket. 25,000 his first month, 40,000 his second month. Many of us have gone through divorce. Stephen went through divorce, kind of had a few things go on, and had to get his feet back underneath him and get the air back in his lungs and get the wind at his back to get moving again. But Stephen is a national speaker and trainer. He's a best-selling author of a book that's been on Amazon, and just tremendous talent. And one of the things I love about Stephen is his focus through tremendous adversity this last year. And I'm not going to tell his whole story, but the newest agency owner in the Pac West agency, Mr. Stephen Jackson, and national top producer as well. So take it away, brother Stephen.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're doing great.
Perfect. Well, first off, obviously, thank you, Darin, Eric, part of their team, and Tony Capistrano, Kyle Cambrell. It is just such a blessing and an honor. A little bit about me. My background actually started in the insurance industry back in 2010, and did a lot of group insurance, worked with federal employees, government, and large corporations, and had a lot of success. We had a lot of fun. Our agency was top in the country, and made great money, and went on trips every year, and became a lifetime flagship member with this company. But I traveled about 20 to 26 weeks a year, and I was gone, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, away from my family, waking up in places, just in the middle of nowhere, working with small communities and businesses all over the country, in many states. So it pretty much destroyed my family, and brought a lot of personal challenges in my life. And we've all seen those success stories, and my life resembled that in a lot of ways. And I actually, it jaded me so much. I actually got out of the industry altogether. I burned the ships, to say, I let my license lapse altogether. And I just was like, I'm never doing this again. It like gave me PTSD almost, thinking about going into a hotel, just so much travel. And so I did some consulting, as Darin mentioned, wrote a book, had some success doing that, but I realized I couldn't make money, the same way in insurance. And I actually responded to a Craigslist ad, and I did some research on Symmetry. I couldn't find really anything bad. And I knew that if I'm going to do this again, it's not going to be, traveling. It's not going to be, on anybody else's terms. This is going to be something I'm going to do. And honestly, I would not be here today if it wasn't for Eric and Darin. I mean, I'm not making that up. It's just this last year has been such a challenge. I didn't expect to go through a divorce after 15 years. And it emotionally just destroyed me, and my numbers dropped, and I didn't know what to do. And it was just, I just knew that if I kept calling Eric, if I kept plugging into the calls and just stuck with it, like, again, we've mentioned Danny Young, but it always comes back to me, where else can you go? What else can you do? And I saw the hearts of the founders, and the vision, and the big picture, and the equity partnership, and possibilities, like, where could I find that, and I'm still a pretty young guy, but I was kind of stubborn that way. And so, thank God, for Eric, Darin, and they just stuck with me, and they really just loved on me and helped me through, all this adversity. And, I just decided that, I'm going to do this, but I need to find some guys. And so I started my recruiting up a little bit more. I'd had a, month of qualification for AO here, key leader there, but I just wasn't consistent. And, I found a couple guys, Grant Traphagen, complete rock star. Just this month, he's already at 45,000 in written business. It's just, he's amazing. And he's just been such a rock on my team. And then also Chris Leak, who I want to introduce. And, we're going to, go through a few questions and stuff, but that's a little bit of my background. But, as both the guys said, just, man, stay plugged in, stay for the long haul, because if you just follow the system, it's impossible to fail. So, Chris, just so pumped to have you on the call. As Darin mentioned, you're the first top producer under the new guidelines within all of I know at least the Kimbrell master agency. Just in September, you submitted over 27,825 in business, and you issue paid 26,460 that. So that's over 95% issue pay rate. Phenomenal, right? And, you've only been in this 7 months. You've written over 100,000 in that time. And so I just, I want to just say congratulations first and foremost. And, take a few minutes, just tell us quickly your background and what brought you into Symmetry and kind of what brought you to this point.
All right. Well, thanks, Stephen. And thanks to Brandon, Casey, and Brian for having us on the call. It's really an honor. So Stephen, thank you so much to you and to Eric and Darin and our entire amazing team for you guys' leadership and mentorship. You guys are a great team, and it's made all the difference in the world. So yeah, so I started with Symmetry back in March, right as COVID hit. My background is in Christian ministry, actually. I was a youth pastor for a couple of years out of college, and then my wife and I moved down to southern Mexico and lived there for almost 7 years, working in ministry, raising our 4 daughters there. 3 of them were born down there. So when we moved back up to the United States in 2011, it was kind of a big transition time for us. I started building businesses at that time, built a couple of e-commerce businesses, which I absolutely loved. The thing with e-commerce is you can build a business really fast, and you can also have it disappear really, really fast, almost overnight. And so I've been through that a couple of times. And early this year was at a place of transition again, and said I need more stable monthly income from my family. And I'm ready to build something that I'm not worried that it could be gone just overnight. I had zero experience in the insurance industry. Was introduced to Stephen through a mutual friend of ours, and a lot of me resisted the idea of getting into insurance, but I was so impressed by the culture, the core values at Symmetry. I saw the system, I saw the potential of it, but more than anything, it was the people, meeting Stephen and Eric and Darin and the rest of our team. And great guys, gave me all the confidence in the world, so I jumped in.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And so I want to talk real quick about, what changed over these last several months? Because you came in, you started writing, you're in the 10K club, I think in your second month, and then, every month thereafter, and just really been killing it. But your issue paid numbers, I was looking at just the last 3 months, went from 59% to 67 up to 95. And this month already, what we've seen, you're going to be up towards that, north of 75 again. And so what changed over these last 3 months to help you get more business issued and get those numbers up?
Yeah, so we're talking here today about persevering through adversity by starting with the end in mind, right? So I know where I need to be income-wise, and therefore I know where I need to be production-wise. And early on, I hit a couple of high months where my submission was high enough for national top producer, but my issue paid was way low, didn't make it. And so about 3 months ago, I came to you, Stephen, and Eric and Darin, and said, guys, I'm submitting good numbers, but I'm not getting stuff issue paid, and I do not have enough money hitting my bank account. I got a family to support here, we got to improve. And you guys all jumped in immediately and helped me. And, the couple things that came out of that was, number one, I needed to simplify. I'm very analytical and detail oriented by nature. And I know there's some of you watching this call right now who you can relate to this. This is you too. So I would get way down in the weeds trying to find the lowest possible premium I can find anywhere for a client, and take that to them. I go into home and I would explain way too many details on things. And I'd have people's heads spinning and them all confused, and them going, I don't know, I really need some time to think about this. And even when I was getting apps, I'm writing apps on products that were taking a long time to get approved. Sometimes we would wait 2 weeks and then come back, oh, sorry, there's something came up on the pharmaceutical check, they were declined. Or just deals start dying on the vine. And so you guys were like, look, you need to focus on our core carriers, our core products that pay the top level commissions, that get business issued quickly. And I made that shift. Brandon talked earlier, sometimes it's just little tweaks. And just by shifting what I was offering to people and then giving a very simple presentation in home, I cut my sales presentation down by about 5 or 10 minutes. I chopped off of it. And honestly, the less I said, the more I sold. And it's made all the difference. Here in the last couple of months, my bank deposits have nearly doubled while submitting about the same volume of business.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic stuff. That is, it's been fun to be a part of. And because I know you're still given the same options, right? Like you're still kind of laying out 3 kind of things, but what in your presentation changed? How did you maybe tweak that? As far as, what you were doing in the home?
So sell a lot of products with living benefits. And I was getting way detailed in explaining how all the living benefits worked and percentages and stuff like that. And I realized that I was answering questions that people weren't asking. So I cut a lot of that out and just very simply said, here's the living benefits you get. And people are like, that's awesome. And for the few who really want to know all the details, they'll all be there in their policy when they get it. And, I can walk them through it. Happy to do it. So that was part of it. And then the other thing was just when it comes to term, term versus whole life and links and IULs and all that, just really streamlined. Got some good coaching from Tony Capistrano, who was like, look, people want the higher, they want a higher death benefit. So just give them a 20-year term and give them it like 3 different coverage levels and let them pick. And so I started doing a lot more of that. And people like it.
Awesome. Good stuff. Hey, lastly, I'd love to dig in here, but I know you and I talked, and you've come into a unique situation, and it may be more the metropolitan areas, but tell me, how many replacements have you done recently in the last, let's just say 30 days?
In the last 30 days, I've done about 5 replacements where a client had just applied for something with another agent, with another IMO, and we ended up doing a replacement. I won't touch a replacement if I can't get them something better, but if I can improve their situation, I will do it. So about 5 replacements and 2 or 3 more situations where the client hadn't applied yet with anyone, but they were meeting with several agents, and then I won the sale. So that's been close to $10,000 of my production in the last 30 days.
Wow. And I know that's unique, and you're in California, and there's some products that offer living benefits that others don't. But I mean, I know that you live by your calendar you're chomping at the bit. Even before I called today, hey, what's going on with leads? What are we doing? And you're calling them, you're dialing. And so if you're reaching clients who are already have been contacted, they're either filling out multiple forms, sending them out. They're not happy with what they have. They're either confused. They're just not satisfied. And so obviously it's important you dialing right away. But what are you doing to kind of persuade or get those people to even sit down with you again after they've met with another professional from another company?
It's all about building trust. So sometimes they're not happy. Sometimes they think they are really happy. So I call someone and they're like, oh, you know what? We just met with someone a couple of days ago, got coverage in place. We're good. And I say, oh, okay. Well, let's make sure that you're not overpaying. What carrier did they end up getting you signed up with? And in my area, 90% of the time, it's one of a couple of different carriers. that don't offer all of the living benefits. Because in California here, we're pretty limited on what benefits we can get with which carriers. The other IMOs tend to write a certain couple of things a lot because that's what gives them the high commissions, and it doesn't come with living benefits. So I just start talking them through, here's a couple of other options where we can get you these additional benefits and at a better price. But ultimately it comes to trust. And in those situations, I make sure that I tell them what the other agents aren't telling them. So it starts with right away giving them the name of the company, giving them my license number, because I want to show transparency. I'm not holding anything back. And then whatever they didn't learn about whatever policy they signed up for, that's where I start giving a little more detail. I tell them what the other agents aren't telling them. Pretty soon after one phone call, they're like, yeah, let's get you in home and take a look at it. And we go, and a lot of them end up doing a replacement. So that's how it's worked.
Awesome. Taking that time and finding the why, digging it out like Audrey talked about. Man, so powerful, Chris. I'd love to spend more time with you. I always appreciate your wisdom. I'm sure everyone on the call can see why you're where you're at. You asked a lot of questions. I know Eric and I talked so much about how you always plugged into the system, but man, you put the system to the test. Like you were still calling all the time. Hey, and we're telling, did you do this, Chris? Did you do this? And you did. And you were just on it, asking the right questions. And so just appreciate you. And with that, Eric, Darin, I want to hand it back to you guys. Thanks for your time.
All right. Great job, Chris. Amazing. Thank you, Stephen. Amazing. Eric, any last wrap-up thoughts from you, sir? Nope. I'll take that as a no then.
No, I was just going to say real quick, somebody did ask how many leads Chris was getting, what types. He's at 30 A leads. He doesn't get them every week, but 30 a week. He built up to that over time. So I just want to answer that question. Thanks.
Yeah. Same thing with Ryan Gaska, one of our top producers. And also too, when I was introducing Eric, I just kind of made a little boo-boo. Eric's full-time with Symmetry Financial Group and just does his commercial business part-time. And I forgot to edify Eric because Eric and his wife, Jessica, were actually on the cover of Money Magazine. And what year was that, Eric, and month? You guys were featured?
It was the silver anniversary issue in October of '97.
Yeah, I remember you coming in my office and I'm like, you dog, look at that, man, Money Magazine. So I appreciate the friendship we've had for so long and always working together. So Eric's my right-hand man. He's my sounding board. When I need to get some honest, productive feedback, I call Eric and we share. So thanks, Eric, for all your hard work and coming on. Great job, Audrey, Chris, Stephen Jackson. You guys are amazing. And Grant Trefagan, 40-something thousand in written business this month. But I want to give a shout out to Jacob and actually Kurt and Kim Young, who called me and asked Jacob said, hey, get someone to be on their call 3 weeks ago. And I was honored to speak to, I think it was about 12 agency owners. And they asked me to give my CEO mindset talk. And normally I take about 40 minutes to do this, but we're gonna shorten it down today. And Jacob sent me a message, I think about 3 or 4 days later, and said, "Wow, that was great. That was an amazing talk. We need to do that again." And I'm like, "Okay." And then like magic, Brandon's saying, "Hey, Darin, you guys can be on the call next week." So I wanted to give a shout out for the props and kudos. And I want to kind of start out, and you'll hear some of the themes. And I got to give credit to John Ziller. And if you don't know John, John is amazing. He's a good friend, one of the funniest, hardest working guys in the company, one of the best golfers and super competitive. But John gives a talk that's probably the best in the company about a why, finding your why. I said, well, Darin, I thought you were going to talk about CEO mindset. Yeah, I'm coming to that. But if you don't have a burning why, and like what John Ziller talks about, a why that makes you cry, something that will sustain you through the difficulties. So you need to find out what that is for you. And I'm going to give you a hint. It cannot be just money. Money's very important. I'm going to talk about that a little later in my prepared remarks for today. But you got to find out what that why is for you. And it could be money. It could be your children. It could be travel. It could be paying off your bills, getting your credit cards paid off, making your credit score better, doing something nice for your mom or dad or your family or kids in private school or something for your spouse. But you need to focus on that why. Part of what I didn't tell when I was first introduced by Brandon and Casey was when Kyle and Tony and I met in January 21st, whatever it was a Saturday night. We were at the Hyatt in Raleigh. It was cold, it was raining. And the three of us went out on the balcony and we each had an adult liquid tasty beverage in our hand. And it wasn't with Symmetry. None of us had a license. We didn't know what we were doing, but we made a commitment that night. that the three of us were going to work together and be inseparable. So instead of being three type A, guys that usually get in, who's, the whatever, how men are sometimes with the ego thing, we just decided let's work together. And that commitment has sustained us for 3.5 years. And trust me, if you could be a fly on the wall, sometimes when Tony, Kyle, Lisa, and I talk, you'd be like, wow. And then there's that calm beauty of Lisa Kimbrell. She's the most amazing lady that usually tells the three of us, all right, you boys calm down. And she just has this amazing touch. So you got to find some running mates, but you have to find that why. So let's start out, jump into this. Okay, here's something that's very, very important I want you to understand. If you're brand new, I know I have some people watching this that are not even agents yet, so don't even have their license. I had one of our new agents, Kim Mullins, pass her test this morning at like 6 a.m. this morning. So we got all different kinds of people. Maybe you've been in for a while, you're doing well, maybe you've had some setbacks. I've had some setbacks, I've had some people quit, I've had some ups, I've had some downs. But what's important for you to understand is that you, if a brand new agent, are basically a miniature version of Symmetry. The comp plan's not printed in pink for girls and blue for boys. It's the same comp plan for everyone. Everyone gets the same deal. And what I love about this is you can't buy your way in, you can't schmooze your way in, you can't drink your way in, you can't do the other thing to get yourself a good deal. It's equal, ample, level opportunity for everyone. And I love that fact. Because that means for you, for the first time maybe in your life, you get to run as hard as you want. You ever been in a job where someone got hired before you and they were there a week before you, and so they have seniority and they're always above you? Well, there's no one above you here. This is kind of like golf. It's you against you. How good can you get? And I think that as you start to take a look at this process, one of the words I want you to substitute is don't say, well, I'm starting at the bottom. You're not starting at the bottom, you're starting at the beginning. Because guess where I started? At the beginning. Everyone gets to begin at the beginning of the compensation plan. And that's wonderful. And when you understand that every 2 months, you get to give yourself a 5% pay raise, that's pretty powerful. In fact, in our agency, with the 5 agency owners that we have, plus myself, we laugh and joke about, man, the most favorite form I get to sign each month is pay raises and promotions. I love signing that form. And I'm the guy I'm on Opt with virtual assistant, and I'm taking screenshots and sending people the pictures of where they're at. And of course now, all promotions are based on issue paid. So a little bit different. That's going to require you to do a little more work on what you need to do and keeping track of everything that you're doing. So that's on you, because who's the CEO? You are. So in the morning when you're shaving, guys or ladies, you're doing that thing with the mascara where the guys, we poke our eyeball out. The boss is looking back. And that's a powerful thing, because you get to empower yourself, which means you need to get up in the morning early, log into the carriers, check where the pipeline report is, look where your issue paid is at. I mean, each of us have multiple admins and someone else is paying the bill. $billion insurance companies pay the bill for your admin for you. But if you don't go check your business, well, then that's on you. What's one of our core values? We act like owners because we own it. And then of course, with the agency owner program, you get to actually own your agency. So if you begin with that process, there's the levels of leadership. There's a compensation plan up to the 1-ton contract. You don't have to write a comp plan. It's already written for you. You don't have to write a business plan. It's already written for you. You don't have to worry about HR and legal and contracting and all the BS of running a traditional business. Symmetry takes care of that. And that's an amazing thing, because having been a business owner where I had to hire employees at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month in salary to help me run the business as I grew the business. I mean, my net was $60,000 a month in salaries before I made a penny. I had to make 60 grand to pay my home office staff before I made a penny. That didn't count the lease, copiers, overhead, and all the expense. So we run a lean, mean machine. We have admins at all the carriers, and we have an amazing home office staff that takes care of the really detailed hard work. Now, I know it's frustrating once in a while, but you gotta bless and love on those people, because they're working a lot of hours. And now with the equity appreciation rights, which I'm gonna come to that at the end, because this is what we're really here for. I'm gonna come to that. We're all equally yoked. I know that home office staff is working late nights, weekend. Heck, I got a call from Brianna on her cell phone yesterday when I was packing my moving van. And I paused because I looked down like, oh, it's Bria, I'm taking her call. And she's working her tail off to help us to help our agency, which is the same thing she's doing for you. And that goes for the leads department, from Maitland to Pam to everyone, the IT department, the marketing department, the executive department. So feel blessed that you have all those people doing all that hard work that you don't have to do for yourself. What's your job? Recruit, sell, train, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And it's just amazing that we have a business model that allows us to focus on the things that do what? Generate revenue. Because having been an admin before, let me tell you something, that's a lot of hard work and it's kind of mundane and boring. So be grateful and be thankful that we're at Symmetry and we get to do the things that are very, very important. Now let's talk about this for a second. It's different. If you've never been self-employed, you've never been your own business owner, you have to learn the difference between paycheck mentality and profit mentality. You see, some people come here and say, well, Darren, I worked 30 or 40 hours and I'm busy. I organized my files and I have a folder and I downloaded an underwriting manual, but I didn't make any money this week. Well, that's because you did admin work. You didn't focus on revenue generating activities. You see, when you start to think like a business owner and you start to think like a CEO, you think in terms of profit. Paid in capital, human capital, the different things that you need to do to produce revenue. And I think 3 A's, I know we've all heard it before, but I'm just going to throw this in right now. Write down 3 A's down your page this way if you're taking notes. A number 1, attitude. Every day we get to get up and control our attitude. No one can control your attitude. That's totally on you. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you can freak out and flip them off. Hey, maybe that person's on the way to the emergency room because their son just fell and broke their arm. You don't know. I just let it go. But every day I choose to have a good attitude. Second A is you get to control your daily activities. Now there's a secret to the second A, and that's your Google Calendar. My boss is that relentless Google Calendar. If it says to do something, I do it. And I'm one of these people who is never late. I am never late, ever, never. You should never be late. To be on time is to be late. To be early is to be on time. If you simply manage your calendar, and I look at the agents in my agency who are just kicking butt, and every single one of them submits themselves to the calendar. Ashley Tarr has an amazing quote. She said it about 3 months ago on the national call. You have to be 100% committed to a non-negotiable calendar. That's a success clue. Man, Ashley's an equity partner. She's on the board. You might want to listen to Ashley. Be 100% committed to a non-negotiable calendar. So you control your attitude, you control your daily activities, and the third one is you control your association. Now, Eric talked about that, but it's the power of association is unbelievable. And you need to choose wisely. Like Audrey said, people are going to help me get to where I want to go, or people that are not going to get me to where I want to go. So I came up with an acronym 2.5 years ago in April 2018, and I want you to write this one down. You're going to write a D, a B, and an E down the page. You know why I have no drama in my life? Because I don't allow people who give me drama in my life. So if people are giving you drama, maybe there's miscommunication. You want to work at that first, try to communicate. But if you can't, you're going to delete them. Then you're going to block them. Then you're going to erase them. Now that might sound a little cold to some people, but I don't know about you. I don't have time for it. I want to surround myself with people that I get to pour my life into and help them get to their goals. And in the process of helping them get to their goals, I get to my goals. It's a symbiosis. So if you're not happy and you have people that give you drama, man, delete, block, erase. I have some people, I delete them off Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Gmail, my phone. It's crazy. If you allow people to come into your environment, just don't allow that. Delete, block, erase, and move on. And you'll be much more happier. You won't be expending mental energy on things you can't control because you no longer have the input bashing again into your brain. Just let it go. Now, something else I want to talk about, paycheck mentality versus profit mentality. Let's talk about the leads right up front. Let's just talk about leads. Leads do not cost money. Leads pay money. So remember how we talked about you have paid in capital on the one hand and you have human capital on the other hand. So when I came in, I was broke. I didn't have a lot of capital. I'll tell you what I did to get money for leads. I sold a mountain bike, tools, chainsaw, sofa, computer. I was literally selling things out of my house to get money to afford to buy leads to get started. Because if I knew once I got the cash flow machine started, I was going to be just fine. And that's what you have to understand. Every $300 or $400 you invest in leads is going to return $3,000 or $4,000 in APV. Now let's say in the beginning you're new, so it's a little less than that. But if you invested $400 into leads, and you had $2,000 in deposits, that's a 5-to-1, but that's your gross because you have SG&A. You have, what did it cost you to generate that? So you take the $2,000 minus off the $400 you invested into leads, you netted $1,600. Well, what's your ROI? 400 into 1,600 is a 400% ROI. Now tell me where you can go to get a 400% ROI in 7 days. You can't go anywhere and get that except at Symmetry Financial Group. Now, as you start to get better and you move up from being a new writer and focusing on becoming a consistent writer, and then we call it the 10K club, you're writing at least 10K a month based on 70-80% issue pay and 80% contract, that's about 5,000-6,000 in deposits. Life begins at about 5,000 or 6,000 in deposits. You move up 10-to-1, 12-to-1, 15-to-1, 20-to-1. What do you mean? Okay, well, I invested $500 in leads and I deposited $5,000 in deposits. My worst week as an agent was 700-to-1. My best week is 2,800-to-1. Every 100 I invested in leads, I deposited $2,800 in deposits. Pretty good week. But if you focus on 7-to-1, 10-to-1, 12-to-1, leads will never cost you money. One of my new agents, Steve, went out and sold a new product on his own, little help from Ryan Gaska. His deposit was about $1,800. And here's something that's very important for you, because I help a lot of agents make that first couple $1,000s and then they make a critical mistake. They steal from their business. Not Steven. I'm saying people steal from their business. Well, Darren, I had bills to pay. Who's the most important person to pay? Yourself. What's the single most important piece of paid in capital you can put back into your business? Leads for next week. Never take more than 50% out of your business, especially the first year. Never, ever do that, because you're stealing from yourself. You're stealing from your why. You're stealing from your dream, because you have to have cash flow. So in this example, Steve deposited $1,800. I talked to him on the phone. He said, Steve, great. You're doing well. You've turned in 5-6 pieces of business. You're moving up to 10 A leads. His GMR is at 10 now. That's about $400 a week in leads. Now think about that. 2 weeks at 400, that still leaves him 1,000. Then we're going to move him up to $500 a week. 2 weeks. That's the next 4, 5, 6 weeks already paid for. His business is fully capitalized, which means how much leads for Steve in this example, which this is a real example. This happened just last week. How much leads for the rest of his life in Symmetry? Nothing. They're free. He's getting paid thousands of dollars a week to invest $400 or $500 a week. Now let's pause and think about that again. CEO mindset. You have the mindset of thinking in terms of profit, not paycheck. How many times a week would you make a deal with Brandon and Casey? You're going to give them $400 or $500 a week in investment and paid in capital for leads, and now you're going to deposit $3,000 or $4,000 a week in deposits. How often would you make that deal? I know the answer, 52 weeks a year. So you just have to think that way. It's just going to take you 2 or 3 weeks to get the machine going. The more consistent you are, the more it pays off. Now, bonus leads, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and all that stuff. Hey, that's just more human capital. You're going to make more dials. Accept it. Just accept right now that you're going to make dials. The entire business begins and ends with this. I love Casey. When I remember the first seminar he went to, he was on stage in front of a couple thousand people and he went like this. This means making money. This means not making money. This means paying off your bills and moving toward your dreams and goals. This means you stay right where you're at. And sometimes it's so simple, but you need to remember that. So I think when you realize that the lead system is an arbitrage model that averages out about 10-to-1, every $100 you invest in leads, you will deposit 1,000, 10-to-1. And that's on a weekly basis, weekly. Now, if you just get good, well, it could be 12-to-1, 15-to-1, 20-to-1. And how do you get good? By failing. So just accept the fact that you're going to get your butt kicked on the phone. I did a live dial in our agency is actually called the PacWest Agency. It's not named after me. It's named off of, most of our agents are in the Mountain and Pacific time zone. PacWest sounds kind of cool. But I do a lot of live dials and I record my live dial sessions. Kyle Kimbrell has an amazing quote. Information irretrievable is useless. Hey, if you're not recording live dials so your team can watch, maybe that's a nugget for you. You do that. But I'm dialing away on speakerphone, got one of my office phones right here, and I'm just dialing away. And the woman yells at me, tells me to go to head blank, and hangs up on me. And I'm like, this is awesome. I just got that recorded. So my new agent can say that even Darin, and I'm not the best, but I'm pretty darn good. I get yelled at, I've been swore at, and people hang up the phone on me. But you know what they saw me do? Gash a line through that watered up throwaway, pick up the next lead, and book an appointment on the very next call that I closed. Because it just bounces off of me. I don't care what any one person says. When you understand the statistical math, every time I pick up the phone, I'm making $80. Every dial means I'm making $80. I don't care what they say. I become dispassionate because I accept the mathematics. Now, if you continue to focus on paid-in capital and human capital, as you don't have a lot of money to start, sell something out of your garage. Sell something out of your house. Because you know what I have in my house now? Well, actually, in the moving van, but in my new house, a new mountain bike, new tools, new furniture, new car, new stuff. And we tease in our agency, we call, anytime someone has a victory and purchases something, we call that symmetry money. Symmetry money. And what's amazing about it is it's not really about the money. People think money gives you power. Nope. Choice gives you power. Being able to choose is what gives you power. So choose today to make the dials. Accept the fact that you're gonna get beat up for a while. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Stop and pause for a minute. How long have you been working? How old are you? How many hours, how many years, how many weeks, how many months have you poured in and slaved and worked your tail off? If you stop work today, what's your income tomorrow? I mean, what are you going to do? A job? Well, is there a lot of job security out there? Everyone thinks, oh, the corporate thing, One of my buddies just got let go from a corporate job here in California. 300 grand a year, 46 years old. Yeah, we don't need you anymore. Just like that. And if you're doing the rules and you're in good standing, you can't get fired. I mean, unless you do something illegal or sketchy, and that's for cause, but none of us are going to do that because that's not the Symmetry culture. So what are you willing to do for 2 to 5 years? How hard are you willing to work? Because you're going to grind anyway, right? You're going to grind on your job anyway. So why not just accept the grind here and find ways to love it, just to do it, to get it over with? Here's the thing about dialing. If you do the dials and you book your appointments, you don't have to worry about dials until next week. But on our team, we dial all the time. People ask me, what's the most important thing to do? I say, look at your calendar. Is there white space in your calendar? That means white space means there's nothing booked. Pick up the phone and dial leads. Pick up the phone and dial for recruits. So you have to have that mindset to keep doing that. Now, a moment ago, I was talking about not stealing from your company. And I said, leave 50% in. And what I forgot to mention, now I'm not a CPA. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm not giving accounting advice. But as your business grows, I know Brendan Hoyer talks about this at the Agency Owner Academy. It's important that you don't commingle your money. So I would start a new bank account from the beginning of your business and don't commingle the money. I would start a new email account from the beginning of your business so you don't have so many emails all lost, because you're going to get a lot of emails as you build this business. But for me, once you become an agency owner, you really, really need to make sure you have some kind of corporate account, a payroll account, and a personal account. Because, the tax man, they come knocking. And if you plan to begin with the end in mind, which means you want to get to the top contract, you want to become a 120 contract, you want to become a RAD or an MVP or an SVP or a managing partner, you're going to make a lot of money. So all that money comes into a corporate account. I have a payroll service. I pay myself a paycheck every 2 weeks. That money's taken out of my payroll account and then it's transferred into my personal account. And that's what I use to buy groceries and pay for my dry cleaning and that kind of stuff. But you can also pay a lot of stuff with pre-tax dollars. That's the beauty of owning your own company. Company credit card, company debit card. My accountant says, put everything on that credit card, get the Sky Miles, and then pay it off, click and drag and pay it off with pre-tax dollars. But don't commingle your money. Be smart about it. Plan ahead. So check with your agency owner, someone bigger, a little higher up in your hierarchy, and check with your accountant. But you really need to manage your money very, very well. Which brings me to the next thing. I want you to get out a piece of paper. And I know all the agency owners, advisory board members, you guys have all seen this. So I'll just tell you where we all got it from. We got it from Robert Kiyosaki. So what we're going to do, we're going to go like this, because I'm going to try to talk to you. I want you to draw a square and then divide it into 4 squares and then number it 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's very important you understand where you're at with symmetry, what you have a hold of here. You see, most people, probably 90% of the people, are in that employee mentality. They're employees, go to work, get a paycheck, 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life, and you end up at age 65, dead, broke, or still working. Or in my case, I thought I was going to be selling fishing licenses at Walmart. That's where most people are. So when you see the Symmetry opportunity, what do? Well, you move from being an employee down here to becoming self-employed. Okay, you own your small business, but it's still dependent upon you. Other people who are self-employed, the dentist that drills, fills, and bills, the chiropractor, the contractor, the dry cleaner, the nail salon, small business owners are the backbone of America. Did you know that about 75% of the people work for a corporation that has less than 100 employees? And small business ownership is an amazing thing. I've been in that category before myself. It's wonderful, but it's dependent upon you. If you're not there, you can't earn income. And that's better than being an employee. Normally on my wall here, I have these great pictures that I purchased from this wonderful online art gallery called Iconic. And one of the ones is right in the middle of my desk. It says entrepreneur as a noun. A person willing to work 100 hours a week because they refuse to work 40 hours a week for someone else. And that's a lot of us here. And on that side over there, it says 97% and 3%. 97% of the people work for those that are the 3% who don't quit. And on this side over here is a big iceberg. And all you see above the iceberg is success. And then below, sacrifice, hard work, late nights, going without, setback, failure, frustration, all the stuff that you're going to go through. Man, if you're not happy where you're at, you just have to accept the fact that that's going to happen to you. So what is Symmetry? Well, I love what Symmetry is. I'm drawing here. Symmetry is that bridge. You see over here, you're an employee. You get started in your Symmetry business. It's just you. But if you build and you produce, it's the ladder that takes you across from being self-employed to becoming a business owner, where now your income is no longer dependent upon you. And here's the funny part. The more people you help, the better it is for you. We quote a lot of Danny Young because Danny hosts a Sunday night call. It's kind of fun. I've gotten to speak on there a couple of times, which is kind of fun as well. But he talks about the you are has gotten to where you're at. If you're not happy where you're at, let me do my Danny Young impersonation. You got to grow. If you don't like where you're at, you got to grow. And it's great because all of us have to grow. I remember when I first came in, I came in with a nasty chip on my shoulder. I'll admit that because, man, I was ticked at where my life was, frustrated. I mean, I had my house paid for, filing bankruptcy, becoming foreclosed. Go try to rent a house when you're bankrupt and foreclosed and you have no money coming in. Yeah, that was fun. So I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to go back to eating top ramen noodles. I'm thinking, I'm in my 40s. I ate top ramen noodles when I was in college. From going out to dinner all the time to cooking at home and barely able to pay the bills. Been there, know what that's like. Here's the best part too. If you follow along with what we're teaching, and you move up the levels of leadership and you're making serious cash flow. Do you realize what they put on here? They put a picture of the bonuses. One person in the company got $120,000 bonus last month. There's dozens of people in this company that make $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a month. And dozens who make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. I know because I started at the beginning and just follow the process. But pretty soon you have so much money coming in, especially with the equity appreciation rights. We're going to come to that in a minute. You become an investor. So here, as a business owner, your income is no longer dependent upon you. And if you have so much cash flow, you're an investor and you just make money off your money, which leads us to my next little chart. Okay, grab another piece of paper. We're going to make a little XY graph here. Make a little XY graph, and we have two lines. Now, at the top right here, this line, where you're putting in tremendous labor, tremendous work, this is your personal production. You just got started in Symmetry. You don't have much of a team yet, so you produce to make cash flow. Don't try to live off the overrides from your income, from your team, especially for the first year or two. Any money you make in overrides and residuals from your team, you need to reinvest that back into your business. You need to produce to pay your own bills in the beginning. Now, if you're working hard and you're recruiting hard, what this is the income that comes from overrides and residuals from your team. Now, at some point in the future, you reach this magic, that intersection point. What's that number for you? 10,000 a month, 15,000 a month, 20,000 a month? I don't know. But what starts to happen is once you reach that point, amazing thing happens. Your cash flow comes in. Oops, sorry about that. And you buy your time back. You get your time back by going out and helping, recruiting, and training people. But you have to begin today. Is it going to happen in the first year? No. Second year, maybe, possibly. If you come in with a big team of recruits and you're a monster recruiter and you know a lot of people, it's possible that that could happen for you the second year. For me, it took me the first couple of years, I worked my tail off. I personally produced 220,000 my first 12 months. The team did 2.2 million my first year. I did all right financially. I made big six figures. The second year, my production came down from 220 down to 160, and the team did just under 3 million. Last year, my third year is when that intersection happened. I only wrote $49,000 last year, and the team did just under 3 million. This year, I might write 30, 50,000 maybe, and we're already on track to do well over $3 million. Is it because Darin's so great? Nope. I'm just a hard worker. I follow the system. I stay focused. And I just give this business away to as many people as possible, as often as possible. I can. And that's what you're going to have to do. Because what it comes down to is choice. Cogito ergo sum. I love that Latin phrase. I think, therefore I am. I am going to do this business. I am going to move forward. I am going to make the phone calls. I am going to get better at managing my time. I am going to read the books to become a better man, a better person, a better coach, a better friend, a better mentor. You get to choose to do that. No one's going to force you to do that. I remember a little hymn growing up. Know this, that every soul is free to choose his life and what he'll be. For this eternal truth is given that God will force no man to heaven. He'll call, persuade, and direct delight, and bless with wisdom, love, and light. In nameless ways be good and kind, but never force the human mind. No one's going to force you to do this. It's up to you. You get to choose. So one of the things I want you to choose to do is just decide. You see, I decided on a cold January night, this January would be 5 years ago, with Tony Capistrano and Kyle Kimbrell, who I just met Kyle 2.5 days before, hadn't seen Tony face to face in 7 years, but I was excited about the mortgage protection industry. Guess how many times I decided I was going to do this? Once. So if you take anything away from today and from the message of our team, decide, choose. You see, because if you're making wimpy choices and you have to decide each week, well, am I going to make calls this week? Well, the cat box needs to be changed, and I guess I can clean the rain gutters, and I don't know, I have to, take out the trash. If you're trying to make decisions each week, that you're not going to make it. I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to make it. What if you made one quality decision that will sustain you, and then commit to someone? There's an old book a long time ago called Promises to Keep. Man, if you make a promise to someone, keep the promise. And just accept the fact that there's going to be some work involved. And if you do that, you're going to make it here. Because when adversity comes, and it will, I've had people quit. I've had clients cancel. I've run out of gas on the damn freeway. You name it. No different than anyone else. So lastly, people ask me all the time, Darin, what kind of people are Symmetry people? And one of the things I do when I recruit, I love to go to sfglife.com, log into promotions, guidelines, levels of leadership, and it has all the pictures of all the agency owners. And you know what it looks like? It looks like the people on this call. Black people, white people, brown people, Asian people, short people, tall people, fat people, skinny people, really fit people. And then, 55-year-old guys like me that are probably 15 pounds overweight, and everything in between, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and yes, Danny Young and Sandy, 70s. You see, Symmetry doesn't care where you came from. They don't care how old you are. They don't care how much you weigh. They don't care what your current bank account balance is. Brandon, Brian, and Kate, they don't care about that. What they care about is what's in here, your heart. Do you align with our core values, like what Eric talked about? They care about your mind. Are you willing to work? See, no one likes going through personal growth because it sucks. It's hard. It hurts. It's painful. But we all want the results. And when I look at that page and I see people from all walks of life, single, married, good looking, not so good looking, different ages, father and son team, sisters, family members, brothers, man, that gives me hope to say, well, then this opportunity is there for me, which means it's there for you. So the last thing I want you to do is get to work. Because you know what? They're giving away, think about this, 34,700,000 shares of the company is being given away, a grant, a gift, based on what you do, how hard you work. Well, we have 26 more months of this. And if you're willing to work hard, you can make unbelievable things happen for you. See, my father recently died from the COVID 9 weeks ago. The same weekend I was marrying off my beautiful daughter, Mackenzie Brooke, I was talking to my mom every few minutes on the phone, finding out when my father was going to die, and I was just being pulled so many different directions. Dad made it till Monday, so I got to have a great weekend having my daughter get married, and Dad died on Monday. I had to finish up some family stuff, take care of all that, and I came home. When I came home, this was in my mailbox. Congratulations, Darin. As part of the Equity Appreciation Program, we've awarded you a big pile of shares. Now, what if these shares are just $10 a share? $400,000. What if it's $5 a share? $200,000 and change. What is $15 a share? Oh, goodness, $600,000. And that's just for 2019. 2020, we're on a blitz. We're coming to an end. Don't give up. Don't let your foot off the gas. Press hard, press forward, lean in. Stay focused for the next 26 months. And we start the year, say, well, yeah, but Darin, I'm just brand new. Great, brand new, welcome. Recruit like a madman or a mad woman right now. Set yourself up next year to get into the pool as an agency owner by issuing and paying $500,000 a year. If you're a personal producer, issue and pay $200,000 on your own pen, and you get your hand into some of those shares. I'm 55 years old. I've never in my life been given an opportunity where they're going to give me millions of dollars based on the hard work I'm already doing. I'm already getting paid, and then they're putting this on top. So what's your next step? Just get to work. Choose, decide, and we'll see you at the top. Thank you very much for having me. Take care.